Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again at our little Frasch channel. I see we're getting heaps and heaps of folks coming in, so this will be a fun one. I know we've done quite a few of the CEU type classes over the last few months for all the people that wait the last minute to get their CU classes for the year. So I bet you guys are excited to have something else come your way. For a change, right? We'll be talking about products. Okay, so you know what? It is 12. It is 12:01. So just to be prompt, we will hop in, and people that will come in a little later, I guess they'll just miss hopefully just a few seconds of this. So let's get going. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Frasch, Frasch Acoustics. If this is your first time joining us, and don't know much about us, we are an acoustical manufacturer. We produce products for ceilings, walls, as well as some acoustical lighting and dividers. We're located outside of Dallas-Fort Worth area in Arlington, where we manufacture everything we make. My name is Slavi Younger-Nightingale, and I am one of the co-founders of Frasch. You've probably seen my mug quite a bit if you've joined us before, because I tend to be the one that does the CEU courses, as well as introduction of products and educational stuff, since that's sort of what I enjoy. So that's why I do spend quite a bit of time on this side of the things. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about Stratawood color expansion. If you're not new to Frasch, you are super familiar with Stratawood. Why? Because this has been a bit of a beautiful surprise for us. We have introduced Stratawood really just in 2022, and very quickly it got to the top 5 products for our company. So it has been definitely a winner for us, and for clearly the designers absolutely love it. So what will we do today is we will do a little bit of a recap, and then we'll talk about all the changes we have made, and also all the new colors that are available for you to offer up and to include in your designs. So we'll talk about what Stratawood is, then we'll talk about the differences between Stratawood and Stratawood Lite. We'll talk about the styles and performance, installation options, and then of course I also included at the tail end some beautiful projects that we've already got some photography on. Those are all of us probably favorite part. So let's get through the educational part quickly so we can get to the beautiful photography. All right, so what is Stratawood? So for those of you guys that are hearing this term first time, what it is, it's a combination of wood, veneer, MDF, and PET felt. So the black part on the back is made out of 9mm PET felt. That is the part that gives you the performance, right? That gives you the acoustical absorption. What you see in the front is a MDF pieces that have a wood veneer on top in different colors, right? So what you actually experience visually, it just looks like planks of wood with spacing in between, right? Which the back could be paint or just really shadow. So that's kind of what you perceive it as. It's very, it's sort of a modern, clean, a bit of a biophilic experience, right? Because you're adding natural finish into your design. So that's my guess as to why it is so very popular. So quick look at what I said. What's the differences between Stratawood and Stratawood Lite? So essentially the one and only difference is that Stratawood Lite does not have MDF. What does that mean? It means that it's thinner and it's lighter, and it's also, as far as sustainability goes, it's a better product to use, right? Honestly, Stratawood regular is the one that's super popular and outsell Stratawood Lite by leaps and bounds, just because I think it visually, when you look at the samples or you can look at the big pieces, it just looks more robust, more it feels like a real thing, if you will, real thing. But I will show you some photos which is kind of what we're struggling with as far as marketing goes, is that once it's installed, especially ceilings, they look the same. The reason they look the same is because your eye will process the openings as the same, right? So the big difference that we have here is the weight, right? So because the MDF is the heaviest part of the product, you go from 35 pounds per 2x8 piece all the way down to all the way to 4.8, so dramatically different weight. And we know heavier the product, more more costly to ship, and also the installation costs go up, especially when you're dealing with ceiling installations. What are the other changes as far as performance? You can see there's some drop off in NRC or noise reduction coefficient performance, but it's not dramatic, right? You go from 80 NRC to 70 when using it as a ceiling installation, and then from there you can kind of see the differences from there. You guys know that I like questions because this is me talking to the ether. I absolutely feel like I'm talking to myself. So this is like my way to force you to like entertain and participate, right? So I don't feel crazy. So the question's super easy. Which is kind of what we just addressed. I'm just trying to see if you're listening, right? So let me launch the question. So the question is, what feature makes Stratawood Lite more appropriate for ceiling applications, right? Go ahead and pick its density, clarity, lower weight, general awesomeness. So go for it. Let's see what you guys think. Yeah. You guys are there and you're listening to me, which I appreciate it. Like, we already got 75 people voting. You know, you're the best. I have to say this. Okay, so let me show you the answer because, you know, we made it too easy. And the reason I giggled is because 92% said lower weight, which is correct. But 8% of you are very funny and you put what I hoped you guys put, which is general awesomeness, also acceptable answer. Yeah, so the answer is the weight, right? The weight makes a dramatic difference what you can do, especially when you're dealing with something like a T-grid ceiling and things that, you know, you have to consider what the ceiling can handle, right? Is it impossible? Of course not. Of course it's available to you to use it, but you know, there's just more costs and more things to consider when using something heavier like Stratawood. So what we'll go through really quickly is wall installation and then ceiling installations, so you kind of get to see what we're talking about. So as far as walls, there's 3 basic ways you can do it. If you want to increase the sound absorption, you want air cavity. To do air cavity, you want to do furring strips. You can do furring strips with PET felt or actually even wood, whatever the preference there is. So you can sort of do that. And then if you want to do it direct, you can either direct glue or you can actually also just screw it from the front. This is actually very quick and inexpensive way to do it. What's beautiful when you're dealing with the black PET and black screws, it kind of disappears, right? But if you want completely clean results, obviously gluing is the way to go. So what else that look like, and a few hints that I'm going to show you here in this video is the finishing, right? So regardless if you glue or you screw the product in, you will have things like going around the plugs, right? Or changing the length and width that you need. And what this video shows, by the way, you can see this video on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. It kind of shows you one of the ways to do it. This is kind of the beginning part of, yes, of course, measure your walls, good idea always. And this is what it looks like when you first furrow out the walls and you do your placement. One thing I do want to advise when you do use this product, of really any product where it is important that everything is lined up, that you do get craftsmen that can certainly do that. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there was like a little additional lip on one side of the PET panels that will allow you to space the panels evenly. If you cut off a piece, like you've just seen before, our little advice is put a tape over it so your wood doesn't splinter. And if you're cutting through the PET, You can actually use, what works the best is a sharp box cutter. Works really, really well, right? You can just really slice it. You can usually, what works really well, you slice once to kind of make your line, and second time across the same line to finish it off.
Hey, Slavi, we're still seeing the poll.
Really? Oh, sorry. I don't know why. Thank you for catching that. Maybe close. Is it gone?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Did you not see the video at all? You saw the poll the whole time? All right. Sorry about that. Thank you, Carolyn, for catching that. So it can run here in the background. There's a couple other things that I want to mention. One of the reasons why I think that Stratawood has been quite popular is partly the price of wood. The cost of Stratawood, even if you're not going for it for the acoustical performance, but for the visual thing, you know, it actually can be less expensive than doing individual planks on the wall using some other wood product. So that's really where you want to do. And plus, of course, the NRC is quite good. Where I'd like to spend a little more time is talking about the extrusion portion. So I did take some pictures, pictures for you guys to show you what we mean. One of the things that we've been hearing you guys talk about is the finishing, right? How do we finish that? I mean, even in the video that I showed you earlier that you only partly got to see, apologies for that, technical difficulties, I'm gonna say, is the finishing, right? One option is leave it naked. You know, that's definitely one of the looks, but that's not always what is appropriate to what you're trying to do, right? The other option is your craftsman can do wood that they can stay and finish it off. But what we are able to do for you now, we have extrusions for that look that you can see here, right? They come in black and silver. They are available for the skinny or light Stratawood Lite, as well as Stratawood regular. And also we have this middle piece, and I actually have them all here, which I know I'm tiny on the screen, so I'm not sure how helpful this is. But you can see it's a really easy thing that you literally slide on and slide it onto the Stratawood, and it works for you. The other way professionals tell me that they use it is actually adding the extrusion on the bottom of the wall, because let's say their wall is far from leveled. So they have a leveled piece that they're starting with, right, to accommodate for the imperfection in the real world. And that's where they slide the Stratawood to get started, right? So something like this. So this is a big innovation. You know, we were kind of thinking, how do we make sure we are the easiest to buy from? Also, how do you get a complete thing instead of, oh, go find an expert that will finishes the edges, or go figure out a, you know, extrusion that matches. We don't want to be that guy, right? So if we listen to you and we have a complete solution for you, so you can actually offer it up and it will look beautiful and finished at the end. So let's look at ceiling installations, right? So ceiling installation, obviously you can direct attach to the wall. You can either do again furring strips or direct attachment. Like I said, pay attention to the weights as you choose the Stratawood versus Stratawood Lite when you do this. The same rules apply about cutting around obstacles, right, as we've seen before. You know, we used to say for drop ceiling, only use Stratawood Lite. We don't recommend the others, but you guys proved us wrong too many times. So here's the thing. There is a drop ceiling that is rated for higher weights that can absolutely handle Stratawood, right? However, Stratawood Lite for easy install certainly works as well, and it's just much easier. However, I have some beautiful photos to show you that please, you do you. Whatever works for you, do that. And as far as how to do it, there's two different ways, right? You can cut Stratawood into the tile size. You know, there are the panels that come are 2 feet wide, which is actually perfect, right? You can do 2 by 4, 2 by 2, depending on what your tiles are, right? And you'll cut them into a size, and you just drop them in as you would a regular tile, right? Or if you're trying to create a look where the T-grid becomes completely invisible, you attach them from the bottom, right? So you actually attach them, you screw them directly to the T-grid, I know in this photo it actually shows they're cut still into 2x4, but that's not really necessary, right? And you can attach it from the bottom and it completely all disappears. So voila, you have the wood ceilings at a fraction of the cost, right? So this is a way to do it. Again, I want to say, pay attention to the weight. Stratawood only under 5 pounds, Stratawood regular 35 pounds. So make sure that whatever hardware you use can accommodate that. I kind of touched on this earlier about where you can cut. This was sort of what was in the video that I managed to not show you. Apologies for that. But it's designed as a shiplap, as you know, which means there's a lip, extra lip of PET on one side of the Stratawood to make it easy to put them next to each other and maintain the spacing. When you're cutting through the wood, we recommend that you do a quick tape just to protect the wood. And then if you're cutting through the PET section, box knife will is all you need. So here are the original 4 colors, right? This is the 4 colors that we have that you might be familiar with. So out of curiosity, I have one last question, because I know I cannot overuse my favorite tool here. Is how many new Stratawood colors do you think we are introducing? So pick one that sounds the best to you. It's 4, is it 6, is it 8, or is it 9? I'm so glad you guys came to play. And you're answering, makes me happy. Yeah, you know, I wish we could do it with this many people where I can still see you guys, but it's impossible, you know, when there's hundreds sometimes of you out there, so we can't do like cameras back and all that. So for now, we at least have polls. All right, so great news is, I guess it's a great news. 17% of you guys said, I'm sorry, 29% of you guessed correctly. And rest of you either guessed 20, 4, 6, or 8. So I guess hopefully we are making you happy. That's actually more than we guessed. So yeah, no, it's actually 9 different colors. Carolyn, can you, I'm not blocking anything, right? Am I? Let me just make sure.
Yep, the quick poll is still up.
Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, is it good now?
Yep, good now.
Okay, perfect. So the colors we are introducing are divided into 2 categories. One is standard collection, colors, which is also things we stock that have regular lead times, which is 2 to 4 weeks for this. And the 2 that we're adding, you can see in here, it's white ash with light caramel backer, and ebony with pure caramel backer. And I'm gonna talk a little more about the backer on my next page because you can see it there a little more. But first, let me tell you about the exotic colors. So the second set, another 7 colors, are what is considered exotic woods. These we will not stock because we might eventually, right? But these are a less common option, but they're absolutely gorgeous. They're a little harder to, there's wood veneers that are a little harder to find in the general offering. But we want to make sure to give you these sort of access to these things so your project can be one of the kind, right? That's the idea behind it. So you can see all the different options as they are. And what you also are probably noticing that is different between the new offering versus the old one, we are not using a black PET only, right? One of the things that we have heard from folks is that sometimes that dramatic of a difference between the wood color and the black is too much, right? Sometimes kind of it blending in together a little more is what's desired. So what we have done is on a lot of these backers, we chose a light camel, pure camel, brown, or black, depending what we felt was the least dramatic of a difference, but still a bit of a little bit of a definition there to choose from. So you'll see they're slightly different backers there. This is kind of how they come. The other thing about the exotic woods, you do have to be ready for longer lead time. So these are for projects where you can make these decisions early on because it will be 12 to 14 weeks, which if you work in a project, honestly, 12 to 14 weeks is about what a lot of our competition's normal lead times are. So I hope that's going to be fine. The other one thing is there's also a sizable minimum order quantity. It's 400 sheets. So if you are looking for doing one wall, or couple walls. I hope you can find something comparable to what you fell in love under our regular stocked items. But if you're looking for some big projects, all this is available to you. You go for it. I can't wait to see the photos when it's all finished and ready. Okay, so now the fun part. Let's look at some of the new colors in environments. So what you see here, this rift cut white oak. By the way, guys, if you don't have the samples, please request them, because everything looks just better and when you do it. So what we have, this is what the whole box of all the samples looks like, right? So it's a lot of options. It's really absolutely beautiful when you see it in person. So these are a couple of the new colors. Here you have ebony and tulip, right? Completely different look, right? You can go really rich, you can go really subtle, you can go modern, right? You can very much create very different looks. What I love, and we actually worked with a couple hotels already, is that if you want a statement wall, right? Why not do, you probably wouldn't even need to do a headboard, right? Why don't do something cool with something like Stratawood? So there's a couple other ideas. Here's rosewood, white ash. There's oak and wench, entries, staircases, statement walls, hallways. It's sky's the limit to where you can put it. I usually gravitate personally to like lighter colors, but Van Gogh actually is my new favorite. I think it's absolutely perfect. Honestly, this image does not give it justice. It's not like depressing dark, it's just rich and calming and absolutely beautiful. These guys here you probably recognize. Is just a quick look at what we also have. These are our traditional colors. I'm just going to get through it really quickly, because what I do want to show you is some of the completed projects that we've done this year. Some of these images actually are amateur images. We're still waiting for professional shots, but we're amongst the friends. So I think you guys will appreciate to seeing them and see, what people have done. So Mirrored Hotels, it has been using PET felt on a lot of their projects, and actually the shot you see in here, they are using light. This is a Stratawood Lite, right? Once you look at it, and these are real close-up shots, it's hard to tell if it's Stratawood or Stratawood Lite. So don't discount light. It might have a future in your projects. Definitely go for it. This is just a statement wall that they did like around here. There's a small big office building. Actually, we forgot to include where it is. Isn't this fun, right? They kind of took some ideas from our some photo renders, but I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. This office is beautiful. This is actually a really innovative spot. It's ambulatory services. They've really catered to really make it really easy to for folks that have a lot of different things that they need to check up, sort of the older generation. But look at, this is an office. This is a doctor's office, right? This is how you want to walk in. Look, they used it on the walls, on the ceilings. I love how they chose to frame it. I love that gold choice they've made. But then they also use it, and you look at the bottom picture, they chose to do it actually also in the ceiling. And looks like they're using a traditional drop ceiling, right? And choosing to have the borders exposed, which looks absolutely awesome. I absolutely love how this turned out. And this one, it's Vega. They're also super fun company, and I love their photos so much that actually I think I put 3 pictures of it, because it does seem like they love Stratawood so much, because it's all over their office. So this is how they did the entry, right? So they did the entry, and I'm sure you probably recognize our baffles in the photo as well. Look, they played around with the colors, and they also played around with positioning, right? They've done some amazing work. This is their conference room. They put it around pillars. It does look like one of those areas. I unfortunately didn't get to see this live, but it looks like it's like like an exposed space, right? Concrete floors, concrete pillars, exposed ceilings. So this is a way to really warm up a spot, right? Introduce warm colors like wood, and also talking about really cutting down on the reverb and space like that. You can see they did they did it around these pillars as well, went in with different area. And also, if you look at the small photo, they even actually utilized to to do it between the cabinetry, right? They just put it as a little accent thing, which I think is beautiful. And I don't think it's too much. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm totally in love with this project. I think it looks amazing. Here's another one. Interestingly enough, healthcare is really, I guess, interested in Stratawood. Again, interesting ceiling. These are all, you can see these are still rough photos. It's not, you know, zhuzhed up yet, but they did some really interesting ways to really change kind of their basic drop ceiling and change the directions, things like that. You can see no issues with cutting around the lighting and everything else. It really turned out really, really pretty. So this brings me to an end of the presentation. I hope this was helpful. If you haven't gone to frasch.com/samples, please do that. Request samples. You want this to have on hand. This is going to make all the difference. People need to see this. As far as what's coming up next, we have an expert installer that I'll be interviewing. His name is Alan Alfano, and he's with Merrick Brothers, and it's so interesting from that perspective. So please join us. I think it's really useful, very helpful conversation. And another update, which look up for the dates, we will be actually releasing a CEU once a month. We're going to release the dates to help you guys out, and adding 2 extra ones. We'll be talking. We are in the process to build a hospitality-related acoustical class, as well as Division 9 walls and ceiling acoustical class as well. So you can kind of expand your knowledge a little more related to different categories of what you design in. Final announcement, Pixel. This is the next thing we're excited about. Q2, here we come. It's going to be all about Pixel. I will definitely make sure that there is a webinar date and all that stuff available for you. This is a game changer. This actually is probably going to be this is the first product we have that's truly NRC1 when it's on the wall. This is literally as high absorption as what you would use in recording studios. So definitely don't miss that. Again, pretty soon, samples galore. You can certainly start looking for those as well. And I always forget to do this. I forget to say, if you have any questions, type them into the question sections. But you typed out lots of questions. Oh, good. Okay. Because, you know, I can't open your thing, so I can't do that. Oh, you telling me about you cannot see because I'm on the poll. Sorry. So most of the comments are that. Okay, so, one question, there's like, can these bend to curve around a wall? Stratawood Lite actually does bend. There's a limit to the curvature that you can do, but absolutely, if you have like a sizable pillar or things like that, there is a give, right? So with the Stratawood regular, I wouldn't do that. It's not flexible enough to do that. If you do have any more questions, you know how to reach us. Some of the smartest folks live. Oh, what's your longest single length? So the panels come in 2 feet by 8 feet. That's sort of the optimal size for shipping. So they always will come that all cuts are made in the field. To make it smaller, that's what you do. And to finish up the project, you just keep adding as you go. Thank you so much. I know we are at our 30 minutes. I greatly appreciate you joining us. If you have any questions at all, the smartest folks in this building are behind quotes at frasch.com. They will help you figure out how much stuff you need in order for your place to sound the way you promise your customer it will sound. They will figure out your prices. They will figure out your colors, availability, lead times, blah, blah, blah. Those are the masters of this. I'm just a talking head. Thank you so much, guys, again. I appreciate you, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.